But Dana White is promoting a show from Mexico City this weekend, and it's got some interesting names. Let's get into it. Claudio Puelles is a minus 255. Marcos Mariano, a plus 215. Paul Craig, a plus 100 against Vinicius Moreira, a minus 120. I think that fight actually might be pretty good. You have Ariana Carnelosi, a plus 120. Angela Hill getting another crack at it at a minus 140. I like that. You have Tyson Nam, a plus 260 against the minus 320 Sergio Pettis. Some fights early on here. Pettis and Angela Hill, some names that stick out. Vinicius Moreira, another one. I think that fight will be good, but I have Pettis winning here. I have Angela Hill winning here. I have Moreira winning here. And I have Claudio Puelles winning here. What do you think before we get into some other fights that nobody knows about?
Well, the Craig Moreira fight's going to be actually pretty good. Don't count out Tyson Nam just yet, but Sergio Pettis is going to have to bite down on that mouthpiece and pull off his technical skill and really, in my opinion, get a finish in this fight to just start continuing, just to get some more buzz around him, if you know what I'm saying, right? Because he can't go to the decision against Tyson Nam, and it's not going to be easy to finish Tyson, but we'll see what happens. As I've always said, huge fan of Angela Hill. Just doesn't sit down on her punches. Maybe it's the body type that she has. She can't generate that power. I'm sure. I wouldn't want to get punched in the face by her. Yeah. But when you look at the way she competes against her opposition, she can't seem to get that knockout. So I'm not really paying. I wouldn't put 5 on that fight. Maybe I should on Ariana because Angela can't seem to generate that power. So Carnelosi might be able to pull this off. But again, it remains to be seen.
I'll tell you who I got 5 on. The minus 255, Sijara Eubanks, taking on Betch Correia, a plus 215. If Sijara Eubanks doesn't win this fight, I don't know if she belongs in the UFC at all. I have her winning this in a wash, Joe.
There are division gatekeepers, then there are UFC career gatekeepers. She has to be able to beat Betch Correia. I think she will. But I don't think you can. I'd always like to know.
Betch Correia is the broken latch on the gate that everybody just looks at and laughs. They're like, this ain't keeping the dog out of the yard. Come on now.
I've always wanted to know what the UFC matchmakers actually think of her.
She beat some horse women. That's what it was. She beat some of Ronda Rousey's friends, and she got a title shot. That's what happened.
Yeah. So I got Eubanks all day in this fight here, but you damn right I'm going to watch this fight because just anything related to Betch Correia is awesome. I'm sorry. I just get such a kick out of it.
Kyle Nelson at minus 125. Marco Polo Reyes, a plus 105. Not a great line there, but I actually have Reyes winning that fight. You have Carlos Joaquin, a plus 130. Jose Quinones, a minus 150. It would not surprise me to see Carlos win that fight either. Then Martin Bravo, a minus 110. Steven Peterson, a minus 110. That is a pick'em, and that is a good fight. That should be a very fun fight. On the main card, I think it's a main card, you have Askar Askarov, a minus 170 against the plus 150 Brandon Moreno. I think you always give Brandon Moreno a little bit of a shot, but is that line wide enough? I don't know. But on this show, perhaps so, because there's not a lot of wide betting underdogs here, Joe. Anything out of those? And then Irene Aldana, a minus 470. Vanessa Mello, a plus 375. It might be worth it just to take a flyer on that, but I don't know, considering it's Aldana.
Yeah, I would. Well, when it comes to putting 5 on it, Brandon Moreno's, I think, a live dog, especially considering, a lot of people have slept on him because of his recent skid. Askarov's fantastic, but, Moreno's probably going to be rejuvenated competing in Mexico City, right? Other than that, I think Quinones does emerge victorious. I wouldn't put 5 on Joaquin, although you do believe he might be able to pull it off. Again, it's one of those situations where that Latino blood might be on fire in Mexico City, so both of those guys might be looking at doing something crazy. And the Bravo Peterson fight, I think, is good at a pick'em, right? That's one of those fights where it's like it's people aren't paying attention. It's relevant to the division, maybe not for a while, but it's a solid fight for sure.
Carla Esparza recently came off of a losing streak against 2 top people in Suarez and Gedalia. She has won another fight, and she is facing the inconsistent Alexa Grasso, who hasn't exactly taken off the way that UFC wanted, but she took over a year off, came back, and beat the crap out of Karolina Kowalkiewicz and looked great. Looked like she was realizing her potential there. The betting odds have Grasso at a -120, Esparza at a +100. I think Esparza's winning this, and I think she'll do it. I don't want to say one-sided, fairly one-sided. Esparza has shown that she knocked off Marina Moroz and Cynthia Calvillo, and UFC thought they were going to be something. I don't think like Esparza's done or anything. She's done at the championship levels, I believe. And Grasso's kind of just getting started. And based on what we saw at the Kowalkiewicz fight, I think she's finally realizing that potential, and I have her winning here.
Minus the main event. Let me just go up and down this card one more time. I think this will be fight of the night. I think Grasso Esparza is going to be fight of the night. I think people are sleeping on what these two ladies have done more in the past than consistently recently, and I bet you this is going to be a firecracker of a fight.
Yeah, I dig the fight. I don't think it should be second from the top. I get it. They're in Mexico City. You got to have something else, though. Oh, this card. Stevens versus Yair Rodriguez. Let's go ahead and get into that one, as Stevens is a -115, Yair a -105. This will be a good fight. I mean, it's a Yair Rodriguez fight. But also in that, it is very hard to predict because it is a Yair Rodriguez fight. And my wife goes, who's fighting this weekend? And here's the thing. She doesn't ask, is there a show this weekend? She says, who's fighting this weekend? And I said, Yair Rodriguez and Jeremy Stevens. And she goes, who is that? And I was like, well, funny you mentioned that, because that's how one of them is most famous, is someone being asked who they are. Stevens has lost 2 fights in a row, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been a champion. He's never competed for a title. When you lose 2 fights in a row, I really don't think, unless you're Conor freaking McGregor or you're John Jones or you're GSP or you're Daniel Cormier, you shouldn't be headlining a show. Second from the top. Nothing wrong with that. Yair Rodriguez, at the very least, has shown that the only people that beat him are people like Frankie Edgar. He gets in trouble. But my God, he can overcome almost anything. He's won, I think, 7 of 8 fights in the UFC. I don't see Jeremy Stevens taking this, but I do see Jeremy Stevens having that veteran advantage of being able to capitalize on when Yair Rodriguez does flippy shit, some Michel Pereira shit. That's a tag team. Pereira and Rodriguez.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, how do you see this one going?
Tough to say, because there's always a fight from the opening bell to the final second when Yair Rodriguez is fighting. Just look at what he did to the Korean Zombie with that 1-second final reverse elbow that he landed to finish him off. So that fight, he's always live. But Jeremy Stevens has a way of punishing anybody and everybody, with the exception of, if you can go up and down his resume. I mean, he lost to Zabit recently and Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo was very motivated in that fight, and Zabit just got that kind of skill. So, Stevens has been around. He'll know what to do when he competes, in quote-unquote hostile territory. I think it's going to be a blue-collar fight, but I do think Yair Rodriguez's speed, length, power, and precision will get just a bit too much out of Jeremy Stevens, and I think this one ends somewhere in the 3rd or 4th round.